Okay. You wanna play rough? Say hello to my little friend!
These are the moments that separate the legends from the forgettable. Scenes so cold, so ruthless, so absolutely fearless that they've burned themselves into cinema history.
What's the smell of wee in here? Now, back 2 steps.
Guy Ritchie returned to his gangster roots with The Gentleman, and Colin Farrell's Coach delivered something special. When a bunch of brats start looking for trouble, Coach doesn't panic or call for backup. He systematically dismantles them using his skills and pure strategic brilliance. What makes this badass isn't just the fight choreography, it's the ice-cold professionalism. Coach treats it like another Tuesday at the office. There's no showboating, no unnecessary violence, just efficient problem-solving. Farrell plays this with such controlled menace that you understand why everyone in Mickey Pearson's world respects him. The scene works because it's not about being the loudest or most aggressive person in the room. It's about being the smartest and most prepared. Coach has trained his boys well, and when the moment comes, he executes perfectly himself. The brats came expecting an easy target and instead found a hornet's nest. Ritchie shoots this with his trademark kinetic energy, but there's also a sense of choreographed ballet to the violence. Each punch, each takedown flows into the next. It's gangster filmmaking for a new generation, slick, stylish, and smart.
Are you the coach?
Coach, it's Ernie.
She's the fucking coach, bro!
Hey, my friend, how are you? Listen, I got that kid I was talking to you about here.
Hello? Is that Frank? Yes. Hi, Frank. This is Jimmy Hoffa.
Scorsese's 3.5-hour meditation on the mob life brought the old crew back together. The title itself comes from one of cinema's most chilling euphemisms. Painting houses means you leave blood splattered on the walls. The badass moment comes after Frank Sheeran, played with eerie calm by De Niro, executes his first kill for the mob. There's no music, no dramatic buildup, just a man doing a job. The de-aging technology lets us see a younger Sheeran, but it's the emotional emptiness in his eyes that sells it. The chat he has with Jimmy Hoffa is what separates a soldier from a civilian. The ability to compartmentalize your feelings into just another task. De Niro, even at 76 during filming, still commands the screen with that same intensity he brought to Mean Streets and Taxi Driver decades earlier. The Irishman isn't about glorifying the mob, it's about showing the empty, hollow existence these men lead. Sheeran performs his duties without question, without emotion, and that cold professionalism is what makes him valuable and terrifying. The scene establishes that Frank isn't conflicted about what he does. He's found his calling, and it happens to involve murder.
Nowadays, young people, they don't know who Jimmy Hoffa was. They don't have a clue. But back then, there wasn't nobody in this country who didn't know who Jimmy Hoffa was.
You calling me a Dunsky? You know who you're talking to, my friend?
Hey, Left. Come on, have a spritzer.
In all the 5 boroughs, I'm known. Forget about it.
Al Pacino delivers one of his most understated yet powerful performances as Lefty Ruggiero. The badass moment isn't loud or explosive, it's heartbreakingly quiet. There's no explosion of rage. There's a tense exchange, and that shoulder shrug was the perfect touch. It's gone on to become such a viral moment too, especially the "forget about it" line. Pacino plays this with such resignation and grace that you can't help but feel for his character, who just wanted to go on with his gangster life. The real power move is facing your difficulties with your head held high, maintaining your dignity until the very end. Lefty knows he is the man of the hour, and it shows in his dominance. That's old school gangster honor, even if it's built on a foundation of violence and corruption.
Anybody ask anybody about Lefty from Mulberry Street.
I didn't mean no disrespect. It's a misunderstanding, right?
Here you go.
All right?
Sit down there.
Either you're somebody or you're nobody. Be right back.
What you doing? You gonna shoot me in front of everybody? Huh? Come on.
Denzel Washington's Frank Lucas operates by one unbreakable rule: business is business. When Tango skims from the operation, Frank doesn't hesitate or agonize over it. Right there, in broad daylight, in the middle of a crowded Harlem street, he puts a bullet in Tango's head. Then, he casually walks back to his Sunday dinner like absolutely nothing happened. That's not rage, that's cold, calculated leadership. Washington plays this scene with such calm authority that you understand exactly why Frank Lucas became the most powerful drug dealer in Harlem during the 1970s. He's not emotional about it. He's not conflicted. The message is crystal clear to everyone watching. Nobody is above the rules, not even family, especially not family. because letting family slide would signal weakness to the organization. Director Ridley Scott shoots this in harsh, documentary-style realism. There's no score swelling, no slow motion, just sudden, shocking violence followed by the world continuing to spin. Frank's ability to separate personal feelings from business decisions is what separates successful criminals from dead ones.
There you go. 20%.
Hey!
Oh, you again, huh?
That wasn't very nice. Now you can't leave.
I will never forget the look on their faces.
Chaz Palminteri's Sonny delivers one of the coldest lines in gangster movie history. When rowdy bikers trash his bar and disrespect him in front of his neighborhood, Sonny doesn't react immediately. He lets them have their fun, lets them think they've won. Then, once they're satisfied and ready to leave, Sonny calmly walks to the door, locks it with a definitive click, and delivers that legendary line. Now, yous can't leave. What follows is exactly what you'd expect, but it's that moment of calm before the storm that makes it so badass. Sonny doesn't need to raise his voice, doesn't need to posture or threaten. He's already won, and everyone in that bar knows it. The bikers made a fatal error. They thought Sonny was just another bar owner they could push around. Palminteri, who wrote and starred in the original one-man stage play before adapting it for Robert De Niro's directorial debut, infuses Sonny with a quiet menace. This is a man who's been respected in his neighborhood for decades, and that respect wasn't earned through kindness. The scene perfectly captures the territorial nature of gangster life. You don't disrespect a gangster in his own place and expect to walk out unscathed.
Get him! They're like the thugs that they are.
And you wanted to know how to get Capone. He pulls a knife, you pull a gun. He sends one of yours to the hospital, you send one of his to the morgue.
Sean Connery's Jim Malone explains the Chicago way to Kevin Costner's Elliot Ness, and it's a masterclass in gangster philosophy. They pull a knife, you pull a gun. He sends one of yours to the hospital, you send one of his to the morgue. This isn't about being honorable or fair. This is about survival and dominance in Prohibition-era Chicago. What makes this badass is how Malone, a supposedly good cop, understands that to beat Al Capone, you have to think like him, operate on his level. Connery, at 57 during filming, still commands absolute authority in every scene. He delivers these lines with such gravitas that you believe every word. It's the moment when Ness realizes the rules have changed. Brian De Palma's film is operatic in scope, but this scene is intimate and grounded. Malone isn't glorifying violence. He's explaining reality. The streets of Chicago belong to Capone, and the only way to take them back is through equal or greater force. Connery won his only Oscar for this role, and scenes like this demonstrate why.
That's the Chicago way, and that's how you get Capone.
Your boss is dead, and so are you. Go!
Al Pacino's Carlito Brigante is trying desperately to go straight, but his past won't let him. When assassins corner him in a nightclub bathroom, Carlito doesn't panic. Using nothing but his wits, experience, and the element of surprise, he talks his way into a position where he can turn the tables. The shootout that precedes the scene is brutal, desperate, and claustrophobic. De Palma shoots this with his characteristic visual flair, using mirrors, tight spaces, and strategic camera placement to maximize tension. What's truly badass is watching a man who's supposedly retired show he hasn't lost a single step. Carlito's not the young hothead anymore. He's older, wiser, and somehow even more dangerous because of it. The way he uses every environmental advantage, from the mirrors to the stall doors, shows this is a man who's survived decades in a world where most don't make it past their 20s. Pacino plays Carlito with a weariness that makes every moment of violence feel earned and necessary rather than gratuitous. He doesn't want this life anymore, but when survival's on the line, muscle memory takes over.
Here come the pain!
What? Is yours? Your pen? Yeah, that's my pen. Why don't you take that f***ing pen and shove it jag off?
Joe Pesci's Nicky Santoro doesn't suffer disrespect. When a loudmouth gets aggressive with Robert De Niro's Ace Rothstein over a pen at a card table, Nicky handles it with brutal efficiency. He takes that same pen and drives it straight into the guy's neck. No buildup, no warning. One second there's drama about a pen, the next second that pen is a murder weapon. What makes this so chilling is the casual nature of it all. To Nicky, this is just removing a problem. The other gamblers barely react. They know who they're dealing with, and they know better than to make eye contact. Scorsese shoots this scene with his trademark kinetic energy, but the violence is shockingly sudden. Pesci makes Nicky simultaneously fascinating and terrifying. This is a man with zero impulse control, someone whose hair-trigger temper makes him invaluable as muscle but ultimately becomes his greatest liability. The scene perfectly captures why Nicky gets sent to Vegas in the first place. He's willing to do what others won't, consequences be darned.
What's that, you hear little girl, Frankie?
Take it easy. Who put the cameras in this place?
Oh, are you?
I'm the guy who does his job.
Mark Wahlberg's Dignam is technically a cop, but he operates with gangster-level ruthlessness. His verbal takedown of everyone in the room, particularly Matt Damon's Sullivan, who's technically a gangster, is delivered with such venom that it cuts deeper than any bullet. I'm the guy who does his job. You must be the other guy. Dignam doesn't play politics, doesn't kiss butt, and doesn't pretend to be something he's not. In a movie full of people playing both sides, lying constantly and maintaining false identities, Dignam is refreshingly direct about who he is. The badass factor comes from his complete disregard for consequences. He'll say whatever needs to be said, regardless of who it offends or what political capital it might cost him. Wahlberg, playing against his usual leading man roles, creates one of the most memorable supporting characters in Scorsese's filmography. Dignam sees through everyone's nonsense immediately, including Billy Costigan's, and he's not afraid to call it out.
You must be the other guy.
Did you put a camera in the back? Tommy, you can't do this. You don't bump guys. You're not like those animals back there. It's a dream, Tommy. I'm praying to you. I can't do it.
The Coen brothers' criminally underrated gangster masterpiece gives us Bernie, a character who survives entirely on his wits. When he's taken to Miller's Crossing to be executed, Bernie doesn't beg or plead. He plays his executioner like a fiddle, using psychology and manipulation to buy himself time and create doubt. John Turturro plays this scene with incredible control. You can actually see his mind working, calculating, adjusting his approach based on every reaction. The badass move here isn't violence. It's pure intellectual domination. Bernie talks his way out of a bullet to the head from Tom because he understands human nature better than anyone else in the movie. The Coens shoot this in their characteristic style, beautiful cinematography that contrasts sharply with the ugliness of what's happening. The autumn leaves falling in the forest create this dreamlike quality, making the violence feel even more surreal. Bernie's ability to stay calm while staring down the barrel of a gun demonstrates a different kind of courage than the typical gangster movie provides.
Shut up. You're dead, get me?
They think they've got Cody Jarrett. They haven't got Cody Jarrett.
What's holding him up?
James Cagney's Cody Jarrett is certifiably insane, and that's exactly what makes this scene so legendary. Cornered by police on top of a massive gas storage tank, Cody doesn't surrender. Instead, he laughs maniacally and shoots the tank, blowing himself to Kingdom Come while shouting that iconic line.
Top of the world!
There's something absolutely fearless about choosing your own spectacular death over capture or imprisonment. Cagney plays Cody as a man who's always been destined for this moment, going out in the biggest explosion possible on his own terms. It's theatrical, it's over the top, and it's absolutely unforgettable. This is old school badass, the kind that influenced every gangster movie that came after. Cody's mother complex, his migraines, his complete break from reality, all of it culminates in this moment of ultimate defiance. He'd rather die as a legend than live as a prisoner. Cagney, at 50 during filming, commits fully to the madness, creating a character who's simultaneously pathetic and powerful.
Finally got to the top of the world.
Michael Mann's epic gave us what might be the most realistic gunfight ever filmed. When Val Kilmer, Robert De Niro, and their crew get ambushed after a bank heist, they return fire with professional precision, using proper tactics and cover as they fight their way out of downtown Los Angeles. The sound design alone makes you feel like you're in a war zone. Mann used microphones to capture live audio of the guns firing blanks on set rather than dubbing in sound effects later. What's badass here is the sheer competence on display. These aren't wild cowboys spraying bullets randomly. They're professionals executing their contingency plan with military precision. The cast trained for 3 months with former SAS soldier Andy McNabb, learning proper weapons handling and tactics. The scene is so realistic that it's been shown to U.S. Marine recruits to demonstrate how to maintain composure under fire. Val Kilmer's tactical reload during the shootout has been specifically praised by firearms experts and used as a training example. This is what it looks like when criminals are just as trained and prepared as the cops hunting them. Mann shoots this in real time with no slow motion or stylistic flourishes, just raw, terrifying urban warfare.
This place is for business meeting, because you can see what tattoos the man has.
Viggo Mortensen deserved an Oscar just for this scene. His character Nikolai gets ambushed by gangsters while completely in his birthday suit in a Turkish bathhouse. What follows is one of the most brutal, visceral fight scenes ever filmed. There's no movie magic here, just a man fighting desperately for his life with his bare hands against knife-wielding attackers. Mortensen performed this scene himself. No stunt double, and you can feel every punch, every slip on the wet tile, every desperate grab for survival. Director David Cronenberg shoots this with unflinching realism. The camera doesn't cut away from the violence or romanticize it. The badass factor comes from the vulnerability combined with the absolute refusal to quit. Nikolai is literally at his most exposed, with 0 weapons and nowhere to hide, and he still manages to survive through pure determination and savagery. The fight choreography, worked out meticulously by Mortensen and the stunt team, feels chaotic and desperate rather than stylized. This isn't ballet, it's survival.
I know it was you, Fredo. You broke my heart.
Al Pacino's Michael Corleone delivers this line with such cold devastation that you feel Fredo's heart break in real time. This isn't a shootout or a fight, it's something more brutal. It's the moment when Michael confirms his brother betrayed him. You can see in his eyes that Fredo is already dead, even though he's still breathing. What makes this badass is the restraint. Michael doesn't explode in anger or violence. He kisses Fredo on the mouth and tells him he knows. The sentence has been passed and there's no appeal, no forgiveness. John Cazale's performance as Fredo, realizing he's sealed his own fate, is devastating. He wants to explain, to minimize, but Michael's already turned away emotionally. This is power at its most absolute. Michael doesn't need to raise a hand. His word is law, and everyone knows it. Coppola shoots this during a party, with fireworks exploding outside, symbolizing the celebration while this family tragedy unfolds. With that, Michael has completed his transformation into the cold, calculating Don his father never wanted him to become.
Come on. Come with me. It's the only way out of here tonight.
Poor little Jimmy. I think it would be in your interest.
And they are, Mr. Temple.
Welcome to the layer cake, son.
Daniel Craig's unnamed protagonist lives by a simple philosophy. Be a businessman, not a gangster. He's calm, professional, and methodical, right up until someone threatens his plan to retire with his fortune. The film's twist ending subverts the entire genre, but throughout the movie, Craig's character displays the most badass trait of all: discipline. He doesn't seek violence, doesn't start conflicts, doesn't show off. He's there to make money and get out clean. The real gangster move is knowing when to walk away, even though the movie brutally demonstrates how difficult that actually is. Craig plays this with a cool detachment that would serve him well when he became James Bond 2 years later. Matthew Vaughn's directorial debut shows a more realistic side of the British criminal underworld. Less Guy Ritchie's flash and more grimy reality. Craig's character thinks he can outsmart the game, but the game always wins.
My name? If you knew that, you'd be as clever as me.
Used you, G. You embarrass me, man.
Wesley Snipes' Nino Brown is ruthlessness personified. However, when it comes to how he dealt with G-Money, we got a sequence so viral that it became one of the greatest memes in modern history. Snipes plays this scene with such intensity that you can't look away. Nino isn't as conflicted as he is emotional about it. He's a CEO eliminating a problem, except his severance package has serious consequences to his mental health. This is 90s gangster cinema at its most unflinching, showing the violence behind the flash and glamour. Director Mario Van Peebles doesn't romanticize the drug trade, he shows it as the brutal, deadly business it really is. Nino's rise and fall mirrors Scarface, but grounded in the crack epidemic that devastated American cities. This execution demonstrates that Nino maintains power no matter the cost.
Yes.
While you were on vacation, we were working overtime. That's your share.
Sergio Leone's sprawling epic gives us decades of gangster life compressed into one operatic masterpiece. The most badass moment is also the saddest. When Noodles confronts Max Bailey, his best friend, the power dynamic is fascinating. Max has wealth, power, and position, but Noodles has something more valuable. He stays true to himself, despite everything. The exchange is everything here, as we see all kinds of emotions, but the badass move here is Noodles being completely calm, refusing to humor Max and give him the easy way out. Robert De Niro plays Noodles with such power and charm that every line lands like a punch. Leone shoots this with his characteristic operatic style. Long takes, careful composition. It's a meditation on friendship, betrayal, and the price of ambition.
Shut the f*** up! Shut up! Get out!
Say hello to my little friend!
You knew this was coming. Al Pacino's Tony Montana, high on cocaine and adrenaline, makes his final stand against Sosa's army. When he grabs the M16 with the grenade launcher and delivers that legendary line, it becomes instant cinema history. Sure, Tony's outnumbered and outgunned. Sure, he's gonna die. But he's going out on his own terms, taking as many of them with him as possible. The sheer audacity of one man trying to fight off dozens of trained killers through pure aggression and firepower is the definition of badass. Pacino chews the scenery like a man possessed, and that's exactly what makes it work. Tony Montana never learned when to quit, and that's both his strength and his ultimate weakness. Brian De Palma shoots this like a Greek tragedy. Tony, standing in his fountain-decorated mansion, having achieved the American dream only to have it all come crashing down. The substances on his desk, security monitors showing the invasion, the bulletproof vest barely keeping him alive, it all builds to that moment when Tony staggers out onto the balcony, wounded but defiant, and gets shot in the back. He dies face down in the fountain, beneath his statue that reads, "The world is yours." Perfect irony. Tom Hanks plays against his type as Michael Sullivan, a mob enforcer seeking revenge. The scene where he walks into the pouring rain and systematically executes an entire crew is filmed like a tragic opera. Legendary cinematographer Conrad Hall, in his final film, makes every shot look like a painting. The rain adds this biblical quality to the violence, washing away sins that can never be forgiven. What makes it badass is the inevitability. Michael gives them a chance to give up the man he's after, and when they refuse, he shows no mercy. Hanks plays this with such grim determination that you understand this is a man who's already lost everything that matters. He's not angry, he's just completing a task, checking names off a list. The silence, broken only by gunshots and rain, makes it even more powerful. Director Sam Mendes and Hall create a visual style that's more European art film than typical American gangster movie. Sullivan moves like an avenging angel, and the rain never stops falling.
I'm glad it's you.
What do you make all this? You gotta have an opinion. I mean, do you think that God came down from heaven and stopped? Oh!
Coming up is easily one of the most jaw-dropping scenes ever put on film. Pure cosmic level bad luck. There's unlucky, and then there's poor Marvin, who was literally just sitting in the backseat existing, not bothering a soul. All Vincent had to do was casually ask, "So Marvin, what do you think about all this?" The guy clearly didn't want any part of that conversation. Smart instinct. But the second he opens his mouth, boom, accidental headshot, instant tragedy. It's heartbreaking for Marvin, yet somehow hysterically absurd at the same time. The exact twisted magic that turned Pulp Fiction into a classic. One polite opinion could have saved his life, but nope, Tarantino decided the car needed a new paint job. And the cherry on top, Vincent immediately starts pointing fingers at Jules. "Man, you hit a bump." Yeah, because that's definitely the issue here, big bro. Classic sibling-level denial while the brains are still dripping off the window.
It was an accident, probably he went over a bump or something.
Hey, the car ain't hit no mother bump. We're on a city street in broad daylight here.
Believe it, man.
Do you renounce Satan?
Francis Ford Coppola created what might be the most perfectly constructed sequence in gangster cinema. While Michael Corleone stands as godfather to his sister's baby, solemnly renouncing Satan and all his works, his soldiers systematically eliminate all of his enemies across New York. The cross-cutting between the sacred ceremony and the profane murders is genius. Michael's lying to God's face while ordering executions. The organ music swells as men die in barbershops, hotels, and revolving doors. The hypocrisy, the coldness, the sheer audacity of it all, this is when Michael completes his transformation into the Godfather. He's not conflicted anymore. He's embraced what he is. Coppola juxtaposes the organ music with gunfire, creating this operatic feel that's been imitated countless times but never matched. Each killing is choreographed differently, whether it's a man shot through the eye during a massage, or gunned down on the courthouse steps, or killed with his mistress. Michael orchestrates it all from the church, speaking the words of the baptism while consolidating absolute power. It's Shakespearean in scope, showing how Michael sacrifices his soul to save his family.
What do you mean I'm funny? It's funny, you know, the way you tell the story and everything.
But I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you, I make you laugh.
Joe Pesci improvised the bones of this scene based on a real-life incident when he worked in a restaurant and told a mobster he was funny, which wasn't well received. Tommy DeVito tells a story. Henry says he's funny, and suddenly the entire mood shifts on a dime. Funny how? Like I'm a clown? I amuse you? The tension becomes unbearable. Henry's sweating, everyone at the table is frozen, and you genuinely don't know if Tommy's about to put a bullet in Henry's head. Then Tommy laughs, and everyone breathes again. Except now you know, with Tommy, you're always one wrong word away from death. Scorsese kept the rest of the cast in the dark about how the scene would play out, wanting their genuine, surprised reactions. Pesci makes Tommy simultaneously hilarious and terrifying, and this scene captures that duality perfectly. The badass move is how Tommy can turn the fear on and off like a light switch, keeping everyone around him perpetually off balance. Pesci won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor for this performance, and this scene is a huge reason why. It's a masterclass in tension, showing how mob life means constantly walking on eggshells around volatile personalities.
You're a funny guy.
That's it, Henry. That's it, Henry.
You really are a funny guy.
Esse é pelo nosso amigo, filha da puta! Ataque soviético nele!
This Brazilian masterpiece showed the world that gangster movies weren't just an American phenomenon. When Lil Zay messes up, he messes up big time. This isn't a seasoned criminal. This is a teenager who's already completely dead inside, who's killed so many people that it means nothing to him anymore. The runts, aspiring to power and seeking revenge for their murdered comrade, charge Lil Zay and knock him to the ground before killing him by shooting him in the back dozens of times, literally and metaphorically backstabbing him. The casual nature of the violence, the bright sunlight, the setting, it all combines to create something more disturbing than any dark alley murder. There's a complete absence of fear or moral boundaries. Lil Zay is a monster in a child's body, and director Fernando Meirelles doesn't blink when showing us what that looks like. The favela produces these killers by the dozen, kids who never had a chance at legitimate life and so embraced violence as their only path to respect and power. The film, based on real events in Rio's slums, captures the cyclical nature of violence, how one generation's trauma produces the next generation's killers.
He was one of the toughest Irishmen I ever met, but he never talked.
I know you would have read it by now.
In the end, I had to put his
had no vice.
Joe Pesci strikes again with perhaps the single most disturbing torture scene in mainstream gangster cinema. When Tony Dogs refuses to talk, Nicky doesn't mess around with threats. He straps the guy's head in a vice and starts cranking. What makes this scene so powerful is Pesci's performance. Nicky's almost talking himself into doing it, justifying it, getting angrier as he goes on about his mother too. He needs the rage to do what he's about to do. When that eye starts bulging out of the socket, even hardened gangster movie fans look away. Scorsese shot this scene expecting the MPAA to cut it, but they let it through, understanding that the horror serves the story. It's brutal, it's unforgiving, and it shows exactly how far Nicky will go. This isn't cool violence, this is horror movie stuff, showing the absolute worst of what humans can do to each other. Nicky's complete lack of boundaries, his inability to control his rage, his need to make examples of people, it all comes together in this nightmare sequence. This is the scene that makes you understand why the mob eventually decides Nicky's too much of a liability.
The word got around that finally there was a real gangster in town.
Siete finiti.
This had to be number one. It's not just a great scene, it's the moment that defines gangster cinema. Michael Corleone, the war hero, the legitimate son, the one who wanted nothing to do with the family business, walks into that Italian restaurant a civilian and walks out a killer. Everything about this scene is perfect. The sound design, with the elevated train getting louder and louder, mirroring Michael's anxiety and building tension. Solozzo speaking Italian without subtitles, keeping the audience as confused and off balance as McCluskey. Michael's hand shaking, betraying his nervousness. Al Pacino, at just 31 during filming, gives us a masterclass in internal conflict. You can see the war happening behind Michael's eyes. He's killing the person he wanted to be and becoming the person his family needs him to be. When he stands up and shoots Solozzo in the head, then McCluskey. It's cold, efficient, and completely devastating. He drops the gun and walks out, and you know nothing will ever be the same again. This isn't just badass. This is transformative. This is the death of Michael's soul. The moment he crosses a line he can never uncross. Coppola and Pacino make you feel every second of it. The clatter of silverware as the gun hits the floor. The ringing in Michael's ears as he stumbles out onto the street. This scene launched Pacino into superstardom, gave us one of cinema's greatest character arcs, and set the standard for every gangster movie that came after. Directors have been chasing this moment for over 50 years, and none have quite captured the same magic. It's tense without being showy, violent without being gratuitous, and emotionally devastating while being visually restrained. That's why it's number one. Michael Corleone didn't want to be a gangster. He became one because he had to save his father and protect his family. And that transformation, captured in one perfect restaurant scene, is the most badass moment in gangster cinema history. Hope you liked the video, so please subscribe to the TV Regent, and here's another video that you will enjoy.